Welcome back to our panel discussion. Today we're diving into a crucial topic that affects everyone, the importance of emergency funds. We have Jordan, a financial advisor, and Taylor, a recent college graduate, back with us to share their insights. Thank you both for joining again.
Thanks for having us, Alex. I'm excited to talk about this vital aspect of personal finance.
I'm glad to be here. Emergency funds have become even more important for me as I navigate my finances.
Let's start with the basics. Jordan, can you explain what an emergency fund is and why it's important for everyone?
Certainly, an emergency fund is a savings account set aside specifically for unexpected expenses or financial emergencies, such as medical bills, car repairs, or job loss. It's important because it provides a financial safety net that can help you avoid going into debt when unforeseen situations arise. Having this cushion allows you to manage emergencies without derailing your long-term financial goals.
I couldn't agree more. Just a few months ago, my car broke down unexpectedly, and having a small emergency fund really saved me from financial stress. I was able to cover the repair costs without having to put it on a credit card.
That's a perfect example, Taylor. Now, Jordan, how much should someone aim to have in their emergency fund? Is there a standard amount or a rule of thumb?
A common rule of thumb is to aim for 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses. This amount can provide a substantial buffer during a financial emergency. For example, if your monthly expenses are $2,000, you should ideally have between $6,000 and $12,000 saved in your emergency fund. However, the right amount can vary based on individual circumstances, such as job stability or health conditions.
That makes sense. I've been trying to build up my fund gradually. I started with a small goal of $1,000, and now I'm working towards 3 months' worth of expenses. It feels good to see that number grow.
That's a great approach, Taylor. What strategies have you found helpful in building your emergency fund?
I've set up an automatic transfer from my checking account to a high-yield savings account every month. This way, I'm saving without having to think about it. I also try to cut back on unnecessary expenses and put that extra money into my emergency fund. It's all about making small adjustments.
Those are excellent strategies, Taylor. Automating savings is one of the most effective ways to ensure you consistently contribute to your emergency fund. It removes the temptation to spend that money elsewhere. Additionally, consider setting aside any unexpected windfalls, like tax refunds or bonuses, directly into your emergency fund.
Good point. Now, let's talk about how to prioritize an emergency fund in a budget. Jordan, can you provide some tips on how to fit saving for an emergency fund into a monthly budget?
Of course, first review your budget to identify areas where you can cut back. Once you determine how much you can save each month, treat your emergency fund contributions like any other bill. Make it a non-negotiable part of your budget. Start small if you need to. Even $50 a month can add up over time.
I think budgeting is key. I started by tracking my spending for a month to see where my money was going. I found that I could cut back on eating out and subscriptions I rarely used. It's amazing how those small changes can really add up.
That's a great point, Taylor. Now, what are some common mistakes people make when it comes to building or managing an emergency fund?
One common mistake is using an emergency fund for non-emergencies. It's crucial to resist the temptation to dip into your fund for regular expenses or unplanned purchases. Another mistake is not having a separate account for the emergency fund. Mixing it with your regular checking account can make it too easy to access, leading to potential spending.
I've heard that before. I keep my emergency fund in a separate savings account to avoid that temptation. It feels more secure that way.
That's smart. So, how can someone rebuild their emergency fund after using it? Taylor, do you have any thoughts on this?
After using my fund for car repairs, I knew I had to rebuild it quickly. I prioritized saving again by setting a specific timeline to replenish what I spent. I also adjusted my budget for a few months to redirect more money into savings. It's all about being intentional and focused.
Exactly. If you use your emergency fund, treat it like a priority to rebuild it. It may require some sacrifices in the short term, but having that safety net is worth it in the long run. Additionally, you can start small and gradually increase your contributions as your financial situation improves.
Those are practical tips. Now let's discuss the psychological aspect of having an emergency fund. How does having this fund impact overall financial well-being?
Having an emergency fund can significantly reduce financial stress. Knowing you have money set aside for unexpected situations gives you peace of mind and can help you make better financial decisions. You're less likely to resort to high-interest debt, like credit cards in a crisis if you have funds available.
That's so true. Before I had my emergency fund, I felt anxious about my finances. Now that I have a small cushion, I feel more secure. It allows me to focus on my long-term goals instead of worrying about what might happen next month.
That's a great point, Taylor. Do you think there's a generational difference in attitudes toward emergency funds?
Definitely. I think younger generations are starting to understand the importance of saving for emergencies. However, many of my peers are still overwhelmed with student loans and living expenses, making it harder to save. It's a balancing act, and some might prioritize immediate needs over long-term savings.
That's a fair observation, Taylor. Many young people today face unique challenges, but education and awareness about personal finance are crucial. Financial literacy programs can play a significant role in helping individuals of all ages understand the importance of emergency funds and how to build them.
That's a perfect transition to discuss how to educate others about emergency funds. What resources or tools do you recommend for individuals looking to learn more?
There are plenty of resources available. Online courses, budgeting apps, and financial blogs can provide valuable insights into building emergency funds. Books on personal finance can also be helpful. Additionally, working with a financial advisor can provide personalized advice based on individual circumstances.
I found that following financial influencers on social media has helped me too. They often share tips and strategies that make personal finance feel more approachable. I also appreciate community workshops that cover budgeting and saving.
Those are all great suggestions. As we start to wrap up, let's share some final thoughts. What would you each say to encourage someone who hasn't started building their emergency fund yet?
I'd say start small and take that first step. Even setting aside a small amount each month can build a sense of security over time. The key is consistency. You'll be amazed at how quickly it can grow.
I completely agree. I'd add that it's never too late to start. Think of an emergency fund as your financial safety net. Having that cushion can give you confidence and peace of mind, knowing you're prepared for whatever life throws your way.
Thank you both for your insights today. Building an emergency fund is a crucial step in achieving financial stability, and I hope our discussion has encouraged others to start or continue their journey toward financial security. Thank you, Jordan and Taylor, for sharing your perspectives.
Thank you, Alex. It's been great to share these important ideas.
Thank you. I hope our discussion helps others understand the value of having an emergency fund.
And thank you to our audience for tuning in. Remember, financial preparedness can make a significant difference in your life. Until next time.